DJI status, 3 weeks to go. Got that coming up next. Build a drone reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night, I hosted Brother Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Ron Brunt. We spent the better part of the evening discussing all the latest about DJI status 3 weeks to go. We took a look at the release coming up of the Antigravity A1 drone. We talked about the DJI Avata 360 drone coming out soon, other DJI products coming out soon as well, and also a great article about Vic Moss that sets the record straight about what the DJI drone ban in is and is not. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. We're going to get to one of the big topics here that we're going to talk about tonight, and Antigravity is going to be releasing their drone it's on the 4th, which will be Thursday. Okay. Now, just to let you guys know, and just to kind of keep you guys in the loop, there's going to be no show. All right. Because we really don't know. And we talked about it last night on Drone Nation. We really don't know what time this is going to be done. It could be 9 o'clock in the morning. It could be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It could be midnight. We have no idea when.
Most non-DJI tech products don't release on a timeline, the usual timeline of 8 or 9 a.m.
Exactly.
Anytime you look for something else, it doesn't happen.
Exactly. Now, I do want to go over this article that was out on Drone DJ here, and I do want to talk about this for a few minutes here. Okay. If you've been eyeing Insta360's Antigravity A1 drone with bated breath, now's the time to set a reminder. Antigravity has dropped a teaser, stamping a firm launch date on its debut drone, December 4th, 2025. The article says at 9 a.m. Eastern time. That means the A1's arrival nearly 2 months earlier than the previously expected January 2026 release. Okay. And then, of course, there's the teaser out here.
And we know why the timeline was moved up, Bill.
Oh, yeah. We know exactly why the timeline is moved up, and that's in the article here. True 8K 360 capture, invisible drone effect, sub 250 gram weight, immersive FPV-like controls, flexible editing and creative freedom, safety, and practicality features. Okay. And one of the things I know we talked about last night, but I do want to bring this up tonight, okay, is for a majority of our audiences who watch our shows, okay, this drone is not, I want to be real careful what I'm saying, but a lot of you will not. What am I saying here? Okay.
But you're trying to go, Bill, the 360 thing is a niche thing. Even on handheld 360 cameras, it's a very niche product or whatever. And this will be the same kind of niche product. So if you own an Insta360 camera or anybody's 360 camera, you'll buy this and you'll have no learning curve. But if you're never ever having a 360 camera before in your life, you will hit a learning curve on this as far as editing, not flying a drone, but editing your video, editing it out to some sort of presentable content will take a little bit of effort if you've never touched the 360 camera before.
That's spot on, Ron. A lot of you have, say, like the Avata 2 goggles, and you're familiar with that and the controllers and everything, and that's going to be great. Okay. And I think people are going to like that about the Antigravity A1. For me, that's not going to work. And I know, Marcus shares the same thing. And I think, a lot of you out there are like that. But I think the big Achilles heel right here is that it is, that learning curve it's a process just to get the footage off it. I mean, it's not like you download your footage off of your drone right now and slap it into Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve or whatever.
You have to round trip it through Insta360 software before it makes it to Resolve and Final Cut. Yep.
And that's Ron's exactly right there. And I think a lot of people are going to go into this, with eyes wide open and thinking, oh, 360, but they don't know, they may be familiar with drones, but not with 360. And I think they're going to get caught behind the 8 ball on this. I mean, it's a great concept. And one of the other things that I wanted to mention too is, there was a lot of good press about this, and it's won a lot of awards, but we really haven't seen more than a minute's worth of footage, Ron. I mean,
all that's based off when the influencers had it for you know, a couple hours back in August or July or whatever
Mhm.
it was.
Exactly. And you know, they really didn't have time because it wasn't the software wasn't fully baked, and you know that's understandable. But I think
Yeah, I mean,
anti-gravity,
all the video was 1080p back then and everything.
yeah, it wasn't even in 4K. So you know, and it was very short. It wasn't very elongated. You didn't see, you know, at least 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes worth of video that wasn't out there. So you know, and I think one of the other things as well is going to be the price point on this. Now, I know I looked at on Best Buy, and it shows for $19.99 out there on Best Buy. Um, and we really, you know, we really have no basis, Ron. I mean, unless anti-gravity provides us
Yeah,
what
I
their
mean, we do
start.
a little bit. Some Australian website leaked their prices a couple days ago by accident. You know how that always happens, and it translates to more like $1,000 in you know the Australian whatever their money is. It translates to about 1,000 US, and that was the rumor for a long time. This probably would cost $999 its base kit. So I don't know what the heck Best Buy is doing. Whether that's a tariff price or that's just what we call a what do you call like a retainer price or whatever. You know, if the rest of the world is selling that thing for $999 and Best Buy is carrying it for $19.99, it's going to be the worst selling drone of all time over there.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
going to be anyways. Bill? Who do you know is going to pay $19.99 for a sub 250-gram drone?
There's not a lot of
No
people,
matter what,
Ron.
no matter what kind of video it has.
You know, it's a hard sell. Okay, when you looked at how the Mini 5 Pro was priced out, all right, and comparably speaking, a drone that I'll say everybody could fly and easy to edit the footage, all right, and you know you're talking 1,200, 1,300, maybe more because of tariffs and things, and purchasing it overseas, you know, and I think a lot of people swallowed it because they knew how good the Mini 4 Pro was, and they're willing to take that chance. But this is an unknown drone, okay? As much as we've seen it and seen some footage on it, and anti-gravity's talked about it, we really haven't had hands-on experience with the anti-gravity A1. So and remember too, and I think a lot of
And Bill, I'll catch off just a second. We know Insta360 is providing the video technology, whatever. So I have no doubt the video is going to be good, up to par, as good as any 360 video. But we don't know anything about the anti-gravity side of it. I mean, how good of a transmission signal is going to have? And now I say that because every time we fly a non-DJI drone, what are we disappointed in? Signal strength, right,
the
Bill?
signal strength. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what about signal strength? What about all the little things like that DJI does so well? Signal strength, how does it fly? Does it fly good? Battery life, all that little stuff. We have no idea because when the reviewers had it back in, influencers had it back in the summer, they only flew it right in front of themselves. They weren't around the length range test. They just flew it right near them, whatever. So all that little stuff, the DJI drones do better than almost anybody else. Will this even be in this? Will this be able to measure up or be in the same ballpark? I don't expect it to exceed DJI, but at least it's got to be somewhat on the same level, right, Bill?
I agree, Ron. I agree. I think, you know, while we know Insta360 is a proven commodity and has been out there for a
For
while,
camera technology, yes. Yeah.
you know, the anti-gravity A1, as far as the drone technology, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good. I mean, we've seen how it looks, but we really don't know a lot about
And
it.
we didn't
And like
talk about last night how you remember it even has those like legs that come down, like it almost like a Inspire type thing where it has landing legs that come down so it can
landing gear,
land
yep.
and not have the 360 cameras touch the ground because you've seen enough videos on the replaceable lenses. Hopefully this has it where if you scratch that 360 lens up, because the way it does things, that's going to ruin it. You're going to see that thing in all your shots. You cannot have these lenses scratched up by hitting the ground or
Yeah,
having
and
a rock fly up or anything.
they're probably going to have, my guess is they'll probably have some kind of care or maintenance package that they sell with it, and they'll make a bundle off of that. I think we're going to see that. But the whole reason, and I think we started earlier on this subject, is the whole reason that they've accelerated their timeline, because it was going to be in January, is that DJI's Avata 360 is coming out, and I want to go ahead and spend some time talking about the Avata 360 right now, because you know this is chasing anti-gravity, and you know, whereas you know it's really anti-gravity A1 is a really an unknown commodity. The Avata is not an unknown commodity.
Yeah,
okay?
and I saw something in the chat asked to have a date for the Avata 360. And I've been reading the last 24 hours. A lot of people have been saying December 18th.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Oh, that's unconfirmed. That's just leaks and rumors, but people have been saying the 18th.
Well, we're gonna go out and take a look at this here. And the first thing is, of course, and this is one thing, and I think it's important. I know the article has been out for a couple of days, but I wanted to go ahead and make sure everybody knows this has been approved by the FCC. It's the DJI Avata 360. Okay. You know, and they show two models that have been approved for there. And they talk about that.
And that two models could be as simple as one's a Flymore combo and one's not, right?
Exactly here. Okay. Rotation cam Avata 360. There's a picture of that here, which is interesting. Now creators won't need to choose between 360 camera and an FPV drone anymore. Avata 360 is both. Shoot an FPV dive, then spin the camera around in post to reframe the entire world. Fly through a tight gap, then reveal the pilot behind you. Capture an FPV chase scene, then turn the footage into VR-ready experience. This is exactly the kind of tool content creators love. Small, extreme, flexible, and capable of producing footage that feels impossible, okay? DJI Avata has been a gateway drug into FPV for thousands of pilots. Original Avata simplified FPV, Avata 2, allowed beginners to perform jaw-dropping flips, rolls, and 180 drifts without extensive training. Is currently enjoying fantastic Black Friday savings, okay? The Avata 360 is a different beast, and the FCC approval is only because it means DJI is ready to go. Two models got certified, hinting at multiple bundles or battery options. And for U.S. pilots, this could be one of the last DJI drone approvals before upcoming regulatory turbulence. Okay, now there's a second article here that I want to go ahead and talk about. And let's bring that up here. Okay. Do I have that? Okay, no, I don't have. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead here. Okay, no, I don't have a second article on that, but okay. Just having some things posted by Igor here. Okay. The other thing on the 360 is, as Ron said, you know, December 18th is a possible release date for this. And, you know, one of these things that I'm going to say, and we kind of talked about a little bit about it last night, is expect unannounced releases from DJI, meaning, you know, there might be something coming that day. You might get a teaser or an email coming out that day, or see something about it, and it comes out that same day. I'm going to, first of all, the Pocket 4 is going to be one of them, because that is, everybody knows that's imminent. I mean, that's ready to go. It's going to be out here, and you know it's coming out because they want to get, DJI is trying to get stuff in before December 23rd. And obviously the Avata 360 as well too. Now, one of the things that we talked about last night, and I think this is important, and I think a lot of people need to understand this as well too, is that there may be an option to, it's been rumored, to fly it with the RC2, which would eliminate goggles. And for somebody like me, that would be like, you know, I'm all in on something like that. I mean, that is something that will speak to me. And I know Marcus is the same way too, because, you know, we're the kind of people, we just don't do goggles. That doesn't work for us. As our spatial awareness and things, that doesn't work. So this is a drone that's really going to have a really broad mass appeal, Ron. You know, DJI always, and I really like this, what Marcus has always said. DJI always finds something we didn't know we need until they come out with it, and then we need it. Okay. And this, I think Marcus is spot on with something like that on this, because, you know, we're coming out with an Insta360, or it can be a regular FPV drone, and more than likely be able to be controlled by the RC2. I mean, this is going to hit
control with the RC2. You could probably still shoot the 360 video.
Exactly, Ron. I mean, you know, the sky's wide open with this one. I mean, you know, for the first time, I was like, oh, you know, because I knew, you know, previous Avatas were goggles, and I'm like, no, it's not going to work. But then this, I mean, like, I'm in. I'm in on something like this because I mean that's really appealing.
Well, I mean, they saw how popular the Neo was, the Neo 1, well, Neo 2 also, but Neo 1 was because it could do many different things. So maybe they're applying that to the Avata series now, make the drone very versatile.
That's true. That's very true. Now, while we're on the subject of releases here, okay.
Oh, Bill, let me, before you go on, let me do say that the 18th of December, that is a release type day. It's a Thursday. So sometimes we get these release dates and they're Saturdays and Sundays, and we know they're not true, but the 18th could possibly work, be it on a Thursday.
Exactly. Now, I did see, and there were no articles on this, but Jasper Ellens has been quiet, but our friend Igor has not. And the first thing that I want to show you guys is, all right, Igor said there isn't much time left before hunting season, and DJI keeps sending us gifts. DJI Lito X1, DJI Power 1000 Mini, DJI Avata 360, DJI Osmo Pocket 2, and DJI RS5. Now, this was the first picture that I've seen on it, and you can see right here, it's the drone arm, and it has Lito X1 on this. Okay, now that was the first I saw that today. That was the first I've seen that came out. That came out yesterday, and here, right here, is the FCC approval for this. Okay, Lito X1, and they already have model number, and it's been, like I said, it's FCC approved. So I mean, that's,
and there's the Power Mini below it.
Exactly. Okay, so you can see this right here. Now, what the rumor is, and what I've read on this is that this will be replacing the mini
4K,
mini 4K, which makes a lot of sense. And I know Marcus talked about the Sky Rover X1, which he has, and and more than likely it could very well be Sky Rover's drone just rebranded as DJI. I mean, that's very possible. I mean, because basically, we all know they're one and the same company,
Right.
So,
and maybe that, like, as far as I know, Bill, the Sky Rover drones are only sold in the U.S. So
right.
The Lito would be the sell in the rest of the world.
Right. Now, Igor did post some other things right here. There's the Pocket 4 that we have here, and then there's the 360 Avata FCC approval right there as well, too. So, guys, stay tuned. Keep your ears to the ground for things, because things are happening fast and furious right now.
It's funny. That guy down at the FCC that does these approvals, he sure doesn't read the news, does he? That these drones may be banned and they had the FCC certifications could be revoked. He's just rubber stamping these things, Bill.
Yeah, they're coming out left and right, and it's very, very, very interesting here as far as the timing is concerned. So, I'm telling you guys, pay attention to everything that's going on. Look on our timelines. If we hear anything, we'll post it out there. We'll let you guys know. I know Ron goes out on X every day. I do as well. I look at Drone DJ, look at Drone XL. I check Igor every day. I check Jasper Ellens every day. I go out there and do my due diligence to see if anything is happening. But like I said, it's going to happen quick. Okay. So, talking about these products, this Mini 1000 Pro, okay, is also on the horizon. Expect all these things will happen probably before December 23rd. So it's going to be a very busy 3 weeks here for DJI. I mean, if you're
limited, keep your budget, keep your money in the pocket until everything gets released, and then make a buying decision.
Yes, exactly. And, realize something. You want to do this, obviously, before December 23rd. I mean, that's just, that's kind of a given here. So I want to go ahead and talk about this as well, too, because this was a great article. And DJI Ban Fact-Check, industry veteran debunks viral myths ahead of December 23rd deadline. And, of course, that was Vic Moss. And it was a great article on Drone XL. And I do want to go ahead and share this, because I think it's worthy of our time to go ahead out there and talk about this. Now, one of the things that I want to do, even before I share this article right now, is they had another article out there from Russ from 51 Drones. Now, I really like Russ. I respect him a lot, but he's basically saying he's given up. Okay, the ship is sinking. And that's it. And he still talked about some drones to get if you're still interested in things like that. But I'm not approaching it from that kind of standpoint, Ron. Okay. I'm approaching it from the standpoint, like, you know what? I'm getting all that I can and getting everything lined up that I can. in preparation for this long winter, however long this winter is going to be without DJI. So in terms of batteries, propellers, other things, you know, I'm even backup drones, which I'll talk about in a coming up video as well too. I'm getting fully prepared, okay, and I have a plan in place to keep the batteries fresh. I'm going to be every day going out for maybe a 5 to 10 minute flight every day, but it's getting these batteries exercised and getting them up.
No, you're filling up the war chest, as the politicians would say, huh?
Yes, absolutely here, absolutely here. Now, this is, like I said, this is a great article.
And also, not that, you know, not get too down on drones, because we saw there's a senator in, where is it? Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Back.
Exactly. You know, they're kind of pushing back a little bit because some of the agricultural states realize, you know, there's no competition for an agricultural drone other than DJI. That's it. Okay. As far as I know, and from everything that I've read, and I talked about this last night on Drone Nation, and please go back and watch that, because, you know, one of the things that I do know is that these agricultural drones, I think they're called the Agris, they have precise spraying. They eliminate crop dusters completely. They tell you even the kind of yield you can expect from your crop. I mean, it's incredible the amount of information that these drones get.
But I just wish these politicians would have woke up about a year ago rather than at the last minute here.
Yeah, and rubber, you know, instead of rubber stamping it a year ago, read through this. And
basically, not reading anything. Yeah, just sign off, and now they actually read the bills and they think, oh, wait a minute, this isn't good for my constituents. But I wish they'd start reading their bills a year ago.
Exactly. Now, the first thing that Vic Moss says right here, and I kind of want to get this out, so I think this is important for everybody. Your DJI drone won't stop flying on December 23rd. That's the core message on the DJI ban from Vic Moss, president of Drone Service Providers Alliance, a new fact-check video aimed at combating the fear and misinformation spreading through the drone community. And I want to stop right here, Ron, because I'll say this, okay? For the drone reviewers that I know of and that I follow and everything, okay, they have pretty much been spot on with what they've been telling everybody, our audiences, our viewers, okay, in terms of what this is, like Vic said. And we have said from day one, that since we knew this, December 23rd, your drones are still going to fly, okay? They're not going to, you know, if you're up there flying on December 23rd, they're not going to crash and burn, okay? So, yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, Vic was addressing the thing. Everywhere you go, people talk about the drones getting bricked. And Vic pushed back on that bricking, that, you know, no, you know, DJI has never mentioned bricking drones or whatever. As far as I know, has any drone ever been bricked or whatever? I mean, just, you know, again, people just talk about this bricking with nothing behind it.
Okay, and what Vic says here, obviously I can't play the clips, but don't use the word ban anymore, Moss says in the video. The more accurate word is restriction. There is no ban. Okay. And wow. I mean, Vic was spot on in this. This was, you know, in the talk section 17 on the fiscal year, NADA says December 23rd as a deadline for federal security and audit of DJI and Autel. Agencies authorized to conduct this audit include Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense, Office of Director of National Intelligence, NSA, and FBI. None of these agencies completes the audit by the deadline. DJI and Autel will automatically be added to the FCC's covered list. Here's what that means in practice, okay? And then he says, what happens? New drone models requiring FCC licenses cannot be imported. What does not happen? Your current drone stops working. What happens? Future products blocked from U.S. market. What does not happen? DJI remotely disables your equipment. What happens? New FCC authorizations denied, okay? What does not happen? Existing drones become illegal to fly, okay? Any future models that require a new FCC license will not be granted that license, Moss explains. It will be illegal to import. It'll be illegal to import them. That's important. That's important. Import, okay? Restriction applies to any communications or video surveillance equipment from DJI Autel, their subsidiaries, affiliates, partners, joint ventures, or companies with technology sharing agreements here, okay? The FCC's new powers. This does not affect DJI Autel, anybody right now, because they are not on the FCC covered list, he states. December 23rd, they may be, but that's currently right now not an issue, okay? Even if DJI lands on the covered list, any retroactive revocation would be targeted and specific not a blanket action affecting every consumer drone. All right. Debunking the DJI ban myths. First of all, fact lie. That's a lie, 100% lie. The FCC revokes licenses. It will not let your drone take off. It will not forbid your drone from taking off. Why would a company like DJI do something like that to their customer base? Then any other country would fear the same thing. It's going to hurt their sales worldwide. All right. Why the FCC probably won't go nuclear. He gets into some reasons of that. 90+% of all first responder fleets are DJI or CMOS. Notes, not even a bureaucrat, nobody in their right mind is going to do something that would shut down first responder fleets. He doesn't mince words about the stakes. It'll cost American lives. No ifs, ands, or buts about it in terms of first responders in being able to respond to that. Okay. Talks about some things like about civil disobedience. And the bottom line, should I buy a DJI drone? Absolutely, 100%, he says. Buy DJI, buy an Autel, buy an Anzu, buy a Spectre. If you can get them, buy them. This video serves as a counterweight to the speculation, fear-mongering, and misinformation that has characterized much of the online conversation about DJI's regulatory challenges. Anybody who says they know exactly what's going on or what's going to happen is speculating, Moss admits. Some of the speculation is educational speculation. I hope I fall into that category here. Drone XL's take. He gets into talking about this. December 23rd is real, but it's a bureaucratic trap, not a security policy. No federal agency has stated the mandated audit despite DJI requesting it over a month ago. The company faces potential market exclusion, not because of evidence, but because Congress wrote a law that didn't assign anyone to actually do the work. Moss points out about first responders is critical. We've documented Florida's $200 million band disaster where the state-grounded functional public safety drones provided inadequate funding for inferior replacements and never published a security analysis supposedly justified the whole thing. Orlando police testified that DJI had 0 failures in 5 years when approved replacements had failed 5 times in 18 months. And, he goes on here, and I'll let you guys finish reading the article, which I do encourage you to do that. But one of the things that I wanted to emphasize right here, all right, is, Vic does not have a negative tone to this, Ron, because I've seen, some drone reviewers out there have negative tones and negative connotations. And I know a lot of you feel kind of, are kind of sour on this and, woe is me kind of things. And I get it. And I understand. Okay. But what I also understand is this. Okay. I'm preparing, as I've said before, and I'm going to keep saying this, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And that's what we're doing here. We had, and I'll bring a really good example here. Okay. November 30th, the 2025 hurricane season ended officially. Okay. This was the first time in 10 years, Ron, there was not a major hurricane near the state of Florida or in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. None. Wow. 0. Okay. Wow. And that's rare. That's very rare that happens. Okay. So we dodged a bullet and we're very thankful for that down here in the state of Florida. All right. One of the other things is, realize too, and I know a lot of people who poo-pooed me about this. Okay. And Vic said that in the article here. Nobody knows what's going to transpire December 23rd. There could be things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. All right. For example, that somebody is doing the audit and DJI will pass the audit. Okay. That could happen. Or some senators could go in and rewrite the legislation or get something passed and stop this from happening, realizing, the DJI drones are vital to first responders here in the United States.
The president may not sign the bill.
Exactly. The president may also not sign the bill as well. And that gets kicked back to Congress and they'd have to redo this, which I don't think that they would have the stomach for. All right. And I think the other thing too is if you realize this as well is, a lot of people have come at me and said, and they brought up, it's a great point, is no other country on this earth has banned DJI drones. Nobody. All right. We're the only one that has gone this far. All right. And it's without reason. And we know all the stuff about, potential drone companies starting up and Skydio and all that stuff and a startup that's supposedly funded by Trump's son and all that. And I get it. And I hear you. And I know all that. Okay. Some of it's speculation, some of it's true. I'm not going to get into that tonight. But what I want to get into is
and do a timeline on any of that stuff anyways, even if it does happen.
Exactly. Okay. The other thing is, these senators from these agricultural states are really kind of pushing this right now. And you have to understand, okay, we're talking like Arkansas, Iowa, Nebraska, you know, the whole Midwest. I mean, the Farm Belt, Ohio as well too. You know, they're very dependent upon agricultural drones out there. All right, so things can be done, things can happen, and
these drones are more efficient than those old biplanes, those old crop duster planes.
Exactly, Ron. They can target these fields precisely. They know what the yield is that they can expect from these fields. They're not overspraying these fields. I mean, it really they have really made this incredible and incredibly better. Okay, and I think, you know, we could get a miracle. We could get something at the 11th hour and 59th minute. Okay, but I'm not planning on it.
TikTok got saved at the last minute, Bill.
Exactly, and you know, one of the things that I've said, Ron, and I've repeated it, you know, till I've lost my voice, is there's a lot of money on the table for DJI here. All right. Now, while DJI doesn't publish its you know, profit, because they're a private company per se. Okay, we don't know how much they made, and we don't know how much the North American market is. I can estimate this, and I can say this with a certainty. Okay, and I know Lauren has said, you know, they're not. But I have to believe that the United States has to be at least maybe 50% or more of DJI's income around the world, okay, because of how popular the drones are here in the United States. And also, too, this has given rise to a lot of these sellers out on eBay, these mom and pop places that have popped open in Japan and South Korea, where they're making a lot of money, selling them at a little bit of a profit. They're not doing a horrendous price.
Bill, the economy's booming in South Korea right now.
It really is. It really is. So, you know, all in all, Ron, you know, let's look at it for what it is. Okay, and let's prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I mean, that's the best thing.
Yeah, I mean, basically, what you boil down to, Bill, if the 23rd comes and the worst happens or whatever, if you already have a bunch of drones, it's really not going to affect you at all, whatever. But if you're somebody that hasn't gotten into drones, if you just discover that you want to fly DJI drones next year, that's where the problem could lie. But people like us that have a bunch of drones on the shelf, our DJI drones are not going to get bricked, and they're not going to just not stop working in the next 6 months or whatever.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
We could probably ride this whole thing out. This whole
exactly.
Whatever, I won't use the B word anymore, but this whole whatever he called it out, you know, until either DJI works their way back in somehow, or the American drones come in and replace them. Whatever the scenario is, we could probably ride this whole thing out. But the poor guy that hasn't figured out he wants to be the drones yet, next year he could have a tough time, especially if you can't get him from South Korea. Somehow the U.S. figures out how to stop those eBay packages.
Yeah. So
which I don't know how they're going to do.
I don't know how to. Yeah, exactly.
How they're going to check every eBay package, ever enters the U.S. Customs. They'll have to hire millions more employees.
Probably. Question of the day: what did you think of DJI status 3 weeks to go? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.